I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Jelpy and Ghosty.
Every Time I Die, Children of Bodom.
Shout out to JLU.
Yep. The name of this record is Follow the Reaper. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori.
My eye is still coming back. So that was. I took my.
He's got an eye jam.
I want everybody to know because they're like, people get so curious. I took out my Halloween contacts, and I'm not used to doing contacts, and I pinched my eyeball twice. Actually.
Yikes!
I don't think I told you it was twice.
No, you didn't.
I did it the first time, and I was like, oh. Then I really wanted to get the contact out, so then I went again, and that's when I said, you need to stop. So, anyway, we've never heard of this band, right? Have you?
No. Well, no. I think I have heard of Children of Bodom, actually, to be honest with you.
But it's our first time reacting?
Yeah. I must have heard of them. It definitely sounds familiar.
Okay.
This is Every Time I Die from their record Follow the Reaper, which was released in 2000. If you want your favorite band or song reviewed, the quickest, the best, the most efficient way to do that is to join an alliance. But we've also got a $75 partner tier where you can jump straight to the head of the line. We also have some really cool things happening where you can win a shirt. We're probably going to give away one of these beauties. One a month from the big homie. Can we mention his name?
Yeah. Klaus is doing this thing where it's just on Patreon though, but everybody's going to get to see the art that came out and the winners. If you're on Patreon, and this is for as low as the $1 a month tier, so as long as you're on Patreon, this is available to you. He wants to make it so people can get, he said, any of the shirts on Patreon, but you post up your art, and then the patrons get to post their art, and then the patrons decide who has the best art, and then that person wins a free shirt. So I'm actually going to be putting together a video of what went on for October, and I'll show it to you guys so you'll get to see the art. Some of it's pretty interesting looking. So, and it's going to be happening once a month for the rest of the year. So
it's an amazing opportunity, and we've got some amazing artists in the village. So I'm actually pretty excited to see it.
Oh yeah.
Jay Dispirited also has a poetry corner on the village. Reach out to Jay Dispirited and he can get you linked up there because a lot of people are writing their poetry. Emily does. I think Kyrie does. Some of the... it's just great. I love our community. It's awesome. All right, let's do it. Children of Bodom, Every Time I Die. Let's go.
Go. Wow.
Ooh.
I love the guitar work on that one.
I heard Children of Bodom, and Bodom is a demon. And so I was thinking this is going to be black metal, like really dark black metal, da-da-da-da-da. So it seems more of that, like, almost melodic death metal, a little bit.
Yeah,
Although
but the vocal style was...
I was just about to say, vocally it wasn't melodic, but just, woo, I love that riff, man. It was just like...
Me too.
Driving it.
Can you
like
play that?
Immediately. Yeah, I can show you how to play that.
I don't want you to show me. I want you to do it.
Alright, I gotta put on my app and we'll play it. It's a fun riff.
I would like to see that.
That's a good one. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. That's a fun song. That's a fun song. Okay, so Every Time I Die, what did you think the song was about?
I don't know. You just sounded like somebody who was, life has them down, and that they feel like that they're... Maybe I totally missed it. I mean, like, at the beginning, he says, no sparks of hope inside, no shooting stars on my sky, on broken wings, no flying high. Like, it seems like somebody that's just going through, like, a very difficult time, and that they're not able to get out of it. They don't have any more strength to fight. They can't take it another night. But the part that confused me a little bit was when he said, because it gets more painful every time I die.
Right.
Which I wasn't sure what that was supposed to mean. I didn't know if that was supposed to be like, anytime that you get hope and then hope is lost, you die again.
Well, yeah, I think it's a, instead of saying it hurts too much to be alive, he's basically saying that he's like the living dead, basically. So, but yeah, I see your point. This song to me was kind of like the opposite of that famous poem about not going gentle into that good night. So here's it's pretty, one of my favorite poems as a kid. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage against the dying of the light. So what this is saying is like, don't go quietly, don't die quietly. Like live as hard as you can for as long as you're alive. It's kind of like Jonathan Edwards. Resolve to live with all my might while I do live. So here, it seemed to be saying the opposite, like cadaverous wind blowing cold as ice, I'll let the wind blow out the light. Right? So this poem is encouraging you, rage against that, the dying of the light, and in this context, it's old age. In this context, it's circumstances that are personified in the wind that are designed to blow out the light, which would be his life. And so Dylan Thomas is saying rage against that. This guy is saying, he's not necessarily telling us what we should do, he's saying what he's gonna do, or what the effect is on him. Whereas this poem lyrically is telling. I'm actually gonna include this let's pin this in the comment section for the lyrics.
Put it in the description, you mean?
No, we'll just pin it as a first comment. We'll just make a comment and then just pin it.
Okay.
I'll take care of it. But when I was listening to this, I was thinking about this because it was, I wrote a lot of reviews and essays on this poem in school.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it was really inspirational to me. I was going through a lot of stuff, and this one was like telling you, like, don't take life lying down. You gotta go for it. So this song is expressing kind of the same thing, only coming from a different perspective. And he says, out of strength to fight, I cannot take another night. I cannot take it anymore. Lust of light slips through my fingers like blood on my arms. Black candle wax has buried me. Ugh.
Yeah.
We were hanging out with a couple people yesterday, and there's a situation with there's this girl and then there's another girl, and the girl is like influencing the other girl the wrong way, and the parents are like trying like mad to separate them because they're young kids, like you're talking 11, 12-year-old kids, and one of them is extremely manipulative, and they were saying how bad this girl was. And on the one hand, I just took the girl aside and I said, I'm not going to say that she's bad. I disagree that she's bad. She's dangerous for you at 11. It's dangerous, but I I'm just, you know, especially that line right there, you know, like blood on my arms, because there was some cutting stuff happening and all the rest. Just a really tough situation. And, you know, your heart goes out to the other girl. Because I understand, because, you know, we've been there, you know, we've been through it, but at the same time, it's like, that's a terrible burden for an 11-year-old to have to carry that for her friend, you know. I was telling her, it'd be one thing if she had a support group of adults to help her through it. Then you could kind of come in as a supplementary, and then, you know, you would be able to be protected from, you know, an episode or two, but this other person has no parents, really.
Right.
So it's just a tough situation, but I think for me, that line right there, out of strength to fight, like, I'll never, you know, I've lost a couple members of my family to suicide, but, and, you know, there's one of them in particular that, you know, I think about her a lot, and I'll, you know, you never get over it, you know, especially you never get over the signs that you missed. But I remember feeling all that anger at her for doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and going through that, and people talk about how selfish the act is and all the rest of it. And then there was a particular moment where God said to me, well, she wanted to go a lot quicker, and she held on as long as she could. And so from that perspective, I made peace with her in that. I said, okay, I get it. You know, from her, and all the anger to her went away. Obviously, you know, the issues that I have with myself for missing those signs, like I said, you know, that's never going to change for me. But that line is really important. If you've lost somebody, you know, to suicide, like, I definitely understand the anger part of it, but it just depends on what side of the street you're looking at. You know, if you know, it's one of those things where you're holding on to a ledge as much as you possibly can, and then you're holding on so tight that your nails start cracking and there's blood everywhere, and eventually they let go. Like, you can't be mad at them for letting go. You know, like, they were in a lot of pain, and it took a lot of pain to hold on for as long as they did. So that
I mean, I don't think
kinda
that
gave me
that's the
some
case
peace.
in all circumstances. I mean, there's stories that you read about where somebody, you know, just does something rashly because it's in the moment.
Yeah, but it's not like their lives are going perfect before that and they just rashly decided to do it.
But nobody's lives are perfect.
I understand that, but people experience their lives differently. So I don't think people rashly kill themselves. I think they're people that have been struggling and fighting, because the most basic instinct is survival. So to overcome that survival mechanism, to do yourself in, that's not something that just happens willy-nilly. So, you know, I think it's important to, like, I know somebody, a kid, who in a moment of whatever did that, and then you look at what was going on before, and you look at his Facebook page, he was struggling with stuff well before. So people don't just randomly and rashly do that. I don't believe that at all. I think that people
I'm thinking of a particular story.
People are pretty good at hiding stuff. Who are you thinking about?
I was reading this article on this girl she was in a relationship with this guy, and then he broke up with her, and it didn't go well, and so she just went home and she took her father's weapon and shot herself in the face, but she survived it. And, you know, obviously her face doesn't matter, like, how much stuff they do, it's very very damaged. And she said in her own testimony, it wasn't something that she had, like, thought about and stuff. It was something that she did in a moment of being rash.
Oh, I'm not saying that everybody who does it has a thorough plan. Most of them don't. What I'm saying is there are issues before that made life very, very difficult for them. And so even in that situation, it seems to me that she put her entire life into this guy, which means that she was in a lot of pain beforehand, and she was looking for this guy to be the solution for all of it. So that's what I'm saying. It's not like people have a very, very hard time. It's hard to navigate this world, man. And so, you know, looking at that was a good perspective for me, because it helped me to, you know, forgive that person or whatever, which is kind of a silly thing to say, you know, forgive them. But, you know, you feel the sense of abandonment and all the rest of it. But Cadaverous wind blowing cold as ice. I'll let the wind blow out the light because it gets more painful every time I die. Yeah, it's brutal, brutal, brutal stuff, man. Really, really stuff. But you know, I remember like when I was at the height of my depression and like getting out of bed was so difficult. I remember it felt like such an accomplishment to get my feet on the ground. You know, like, and you know, people have no idea. Unless you've been in that situation, like you've no idea what it's like. It's crazy. And so, you know, that was one of the things that kind of helped me to process through that whole situation. But I'm assuming, you know, I'm almost afraid to look this guy up. You know what I mean? Because every time we discover somebody and we like them, then all of a sudden it's...
when was this? This came out in 2000?
Alexei Liho, I think his name is. Hopefully he's still alive. So go ahead. What were your thoughts on the song?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically that. I said it was like, you know, seemed like somebody was going through a difficult time, and but I liked the way that I actually liked the art in the first stanza here, where it says, "No sparks of hope inside, no shooting stars on my sky. On broken wings, no flying high." Like, that's how it can feel sometimes, you know? You feel like that your wings are broken, there's no shooting stars, there's no spark, there's nothing there. And that's when you get, like, see, I've had depression, but I've never had severe depression like what you've experienced. And I know that when I was in my depression, it was like, that was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I guess, mild compared to what, you know, somebody with severe depression struggles with. So.
Yeah, and that's why I'm not a fan of the euthanasia stuff, man. Because being, you know, because people are like, oh, don't you feel compassion about people in chronic pain? Of course I do. But opening that floodgate, there's no way to close that box. You know, it's like, okay, so yeah, that you're in chronic pain, so you get to do that. Okay, what about a person that's suffering severe depression? They're in chronic pain too.
Right.
Should we create a society where that's an option? That's crazy to me. But you know, it's one of those things where I remember there was this one story that really struck me in New York. This guy died on the train. And he didn't get discovered until, you know, the train makes the last stop or whatever, and then the guy goes through all the cars and makes sure, and then the guy was there and he would wake up and obviously he was dead. And on the one hand, it's like, maybe he was just asleep, you know what I mean? But on the other hand, it just was kind of like metaphorical for the coldness of the city, that you could be standing above a dead person or a dying person and not even know, because everybody's so busy about going, especially in New York. Man, New York, because what happens is most of us are beholden to the transit system. And so the issue is the train's not going to wait for you. So or the bus. So everybody's you're always on the clock. You're always running. You always have to make it there. You always have to be there on time. And then even when and I remember being on 149 the Grand Concourse, and then like everybody, if you're from New York, you'll know. You lean over to see the lights of the train, and as if that's going to make the train come faster. Like, so you're rushing into the train station, you're in the train station, and then you're leaning, like trying to telepathically get the train to come. And it's just like, you just don't, it doesn't even pop into your mind to think about another person or look at another person. Like, you're just worried about getting to the next thing in your connection. And if your train is delayed, then the connecting, you know, I used to have to take the 4 to the 5. And so if the 4 was late, that wasn't going to stop the 5 from being late. So it's just, you're just thinking about, you know, and you know, I've probably seen, you know, the only time I'd seen in New York is when there'd be a pregnant woman. The pregnant woman show up, and a lot of dudes would give up their seat for the pregnant girl. I thought that was pretty cool. But my point is like, there's a lot of people that are carrying this stuff around and nobody knows about it. So then they go off and do something, and it looks like completely random out of nowhere, and it's not as random as you would think if you would actually pay attention to the person, you know. But so it's one of those things where, to me, it's just like, that's a big challenge, is to take the time to see another human being. And you know, when you ask them, how are you doing? Like, not asking that as an opening salutation, but as
Right.
a legitimate question
Yeah.
to be concerned about how your fellow man or woman is doing. And, you know, to be able to just, it's not like you have to have years of psychotherapy. Just be there for a person, you know. That, you know, I tell a story of my friend, you know, he's kind of interesting cat, but he told me about, you know, his wife had left him and he had lost everything, and he just decided, I'm gonna go to a 7-Eleven and blow my brains out. And then he goes, you know, he said to God, he said, you know, unless you can convince me you love me, I'm doing this. And then he goes to the store and in line, and somebody taps him on the shoulder and says, you know, God loves you. And that's why he's here to this day. Just that one little phrase, that one little statement. And so it's like, damn, it was that easy. Mm-hmm. You know, and look, it doesn't matter. I mean, atheists can do this too, right? Just, hey man, you know, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Yeah, Tim Pool was talking about this. Even, you know, he's talking about like, nobody's connected as a neighbor. He's like, you know, we need our neighbors. You know, your house is on fire, da da da. Like, we need each other, and all of us are so disconnected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not just something that a Christian can do. Anybody can do that, you know. And that's one of the things I appreciate about our community is I've seen it happen so many times. Becky will check up on somebody, or Pony will check up on somebody, or vice versa. People check up on me once in a while, which is very rare for me. So, you know, I'm seeing it happen in our community, but I'm hoping it's also happening out in the physical world as well as the digital world. Not to discount how important that is in the digital world too. But sonically, this song was great. It was not what I was expecting, and usually when I have an expectation and then it contradicts that expectation, I go, ugh! But I was pleasantly surprised. Like, there was some like standard metal, but then there was also some like, not prog, but more technical aspects of the scale work and stuff. But he didn't go crazy on it, and you could tell that this guy is mega gifted, and he could have went crazy if he wanted to, but because it didn't fit the song, he didn't. And I just love that type of discipline and restraint. I love it. I love it.
I just love the guitar work.
Really, really good guitar work. I think that's like becoming one of our probably favorite genres, is that melodic death metal type of thing. I think both of us really enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
What do you give the song?
9.
The 9.3 for me. Good song. We will post the poem by Dylan Thomas as the first comment, and then we'll pin it. Much love to everybody. Speaking of poetry, remember that stuff is coming on the way. You can win yourself a Till We Die shirt, or a Sori Secret shirt, or a Middle America shirt.
Whatever you decide.
Whatever you decide. Tell the truth. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.